I don't look at weather in advance. I just heard about this and this. What's your like? How much have you guys prepared for this year?
Yeah, I mean, we've had the wet ball stuff going, and we played there before in inclement weather. Certainly, it sounds even more maybe than. I think the wind is obviously a big factor here. The rain can be, and we've talked about it every day, really. And so you just you understand, how your game shifts oftentimes is not unusual per the weather. So we'll keep up to speed on that. But we've seen the same forecast every day.
Does the play calling change?
Absolutely, it does. Absolutely, it does. Yeah.
Sean, the Seahawks are honoring Matt Hasselbeck this weekend. What do you remember about him?
Shoot, I remember working him out at Boston College. I was at the Giants, I believe. We had a meal in one of the dorms, and I remember calling him during the draft. I can't recall the year. What was his draft class?
98 or something like that, maybe.
Had to be 99.
Okay.
Because I don't think I would have been at the Eagles. I'm guessing it was 99. You might be right. Yeah, and I remember, man, he made a throw in our playoff game in 10. I want to say it was like third or fourth down, and he gets hit as he throws it into a zero blitz, but it was an impressive throw, and I think it was a critical play in that game. I'd have to go back and look at it. But he's been, a tremendous, not only player but person, and ambassador to the league, and it's a good honor.
Sean, when you guys talk about finding your identity or making up your identity, what are the things that go into making up a team's identity?
Well, I think it starts with that team's personnel. In other words, who you are, and believe it or not, you're always getting educated as a coach. You're learning more and more about your players, but I think it starts with that, and then look, you're spending a lot of time obviously on the fundamentals, the grit, the toughness, how to win each week, but specifically to your identity, a lot of it has to do with your own personnel.
So that's something you figure out. You aren't trying to fit into a preconceived notion or anything like that.
No, you're trying to use your personnel the best way you can.
Alvin said yesterday that you like proving people wrong. Like when you get into these situations where you're dealing with injuries or the hurricane, stuff like that, people kind of doubt you.
Well, I had this question earlier in the week, I believe, from Jeff, and I just think it's human nature. Forget sport; it could be in anyone's industry. You don't feel well one day, you miss, and so your performance you have an excuse built in. And so I just think, look, the one thing about this environment is it's obviously very competitive, and so, there's a part of you that wants to. You're going to have to overcome some obstacles, and every team is. I think it's not just one team. No one wants to hear this is the 5th of 6 road games. In other words, however many starters were out, all those things. That's pretty. That happens in our league, and you hopefully you get healthy, near the end of the season and you're playing better. But I just think that it can become an easy, exit door.
Does that mindset come from Parcells?
Oh, probably, yeah, but I think a number of people. Bill was real good at identifying it. And so when an injured player would come back into the lineup, Bill made sure during the week that he wasn't dipping his toe in the water. He was all in because, it wasn't going to be if you didn't play well, then you had a reason, and so, I think he was real good that way.
I think it was Malcolm who was saying these have been some of the best practices of the season. Have you sensed that this week?
It's been good. I mean, guys, we had time off, obviously, and it's been competitive.
Sean, is your attention to detail something that's just always been natural, or is that something you've developed over the years?
I think you develop it as a coach. And you understand that every little thing matters. And if it matters out here on the football field, it probably matters then in the weight room, and it probably matters in the locker room, and it probably matters in the food training room, and it probably matters in everything you do. Because I think, how do you separate, well, this doesn't matter. Certainly there's priorities, but I think you develop it maybe a little bit more so as a coach.
Not related to this game, but the 10-year anniversary of Pete calling his first game.
I saw that.
What do you remember?
We made a note of it in the quarterback meeting today. So here's what I remember. Obviously, I had just had the surgery on Monday, and so it was that following Sunday night. It was Sunday night football, and I don't know what the score was at halftime. Payton was hurt, I know that, and so they were shorthanded. And we did a lot of good things, and believe it or not, we had just lost to Tampa, but that was gonna begin a good roll here, a good stretch of games. You know, I don't know if we had another loss, probably somewhere in there, but we were going to win like 10 of the next 11 or something like that, with a really good, that was one of our better teams. But no, Pete got a game ball, and anytime any one of us is absent from anything we do, and then what we're doing just excels while you're absent, there's that, like, well, I got to get back to work. I got to hurry up and rehab this leg. Anyway, yeah, I remember it.
Stat of the week.
Stat of the week this week. Let's see. Our red zone numbers are good. I would say the one thing when you look at it is you just stare at our offensive red zone numbers. You'd say, hey, the one thing we got to get there more, and because we're operating at a pretty high level defensively the same way. Yeah, that would be it. Stat of the week would be, I think, the mile per hour wind, or what was the term they used?
Bomb cyclone.
Have you ever heard that?
I just said I've never heard that before.
Yeah, but only because
you've heard of that.
So there was one in Nebraska a couple years ago, and that's where my mom lives, and so she was talking all about it because she loves the weather.
I've never heard that term though. I've heard of a cyclone or whatever. I've just never heard. And so, yeah, I mean that obviously would be the extreme.
Sean, you guys signed Brian Johnson and have to keep him for 3 weeks, even though Will Lutz was ready to return to practice this week. Is he, like, in particularly a really strong kickoff leg or anything, or that's just until Will's ready to get
No, listen, we really like the prospect, and so each week we're closely evaluating Will, but 3 weeks we felt comfortable with that, and it doesn't suggest that Will won't kick for 3 weeks. It's not a big price to pay roster-wise.
With the practice squad rules, does that kind of change how you look at the 53? Is it easier to stash somebody now?
You're not stashing, really. It's certainly much more flexible relative to bringing players up. But I don't think, like, we're finding, it's not like you're gaining, everyone's kind of operating with the same number count. Clubs have, and I think really to the players' benefit, they have more flexibility. There's more places to be. If you're a football player, when the practice squads were lower, there were less places to be. And so now that veterans can be on that practice squad, younger players can be on that practice squad, and, you're at 16. So, I mean, I just think that, when you hear the term developmental league, I kind of look at it not necessarily that way, but we're developing everyone here. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sure.
Fantastic. It's been like 2 years, so it's crazy. But yeah, how have, you can't say first quarter of the season anymore because it's 17 games, but how do you feel that things have gone for you so far?
Try to get better each week. I feel like it's going well, like try to get better each week. That's the goal. So.
Yeah, for sure. How, this week it's supposed to be really windy, really wet. Does that change anything for you or the defensive linemen?
I wouldn't say so, no. I mean, each week we're going to go out there and compete. We're going to roll the ball out there. We're going to play, so.
Sean, what are the expectations of this Seattle offense? They're obviously without Russell Wilson, but what are the expectations of what you guys will see from this offense?
I mean, their offensive line pretty good. They doing good. They run the ball, so we just got to come out there, ready to compete, do our thing. So.
The sack numbers are down, but are people just reading too much into that?
Can you repeat the question?
The sack numbers in general are down, but your pressures are still up there. Do people read too much into y'all not getting to the quarterback?
I mean, I personally haven't been on social media that much, so I mean, as long as we win, that's all I'm worried about, winning. So.
Shai, the emphasis always on making a team one-dimensional. Just tell how much that means to a defense, through all phases, to make a team one-dimensional. How much it means.
I mean, it's pretty big. Once we pride ourselves on stopping the run. So if we stop the run, it'll make, I wouldn't say things easier, but it'll, like you say, one-dimensional. So.
You guys have dealt with some mobile quarterbacks this season. Geno Smith, fairly mobile also. Just how do you go into a game with the mindset of dealing with a quarterback that can move around and extend plays?
I mean, everyone just has to execute, do their job, and trust in one another. So.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Fantastic. How are you?
Good.
All right. Cool. How does the weather this weekend affect you at all? I know you played up there, right? Washington?
In college, I
Yeah.
actually played in the rainy game too, but I mean, just making sure you have the right shoes on, and obviously traction is a thing. But other than that, just coming in with the same mindset every game.
How do you practice for
And you can't really recreate rain, so just mentally, kind of getting your body right, knowing that you might have to wear different shoes, or making sure you have the right shoes to be able to not slip on the field. But other than that, just coming ready to play.
Also, every week presents a different challenge as a cornerback, especially against these elite receivers. But do you look forward to some matchups more than others, or do you kind of keep it all pretty much the same?
Yeah, I try to just keep, every week come in and give my best. Not try to overplay or underplay depending on who you're playing against. Just try to come in and compete every week.
When you see Metcalf on film, what are the things you see?
He's a big, fast, physical dude, quick, right? Seemingly has all the attributes, so definitely a good receiver and somebody that you look forward to competing against.
And I guess same with Lockett.
Yeah, just a smaller version, but still quick, fast, can run all the routes, can take the top off the defense. So really got to have good eyes when you're covering them.
You guys have faced mobile quarterback after mobile quarterback. How much does that, I guess, attune you to facing another one? Does it kind of condition you to the things you're going to have to see?
Yeah, for sure, especially with this team. We always see their receivers staying alive downfield, broken play. Next thing you know, they throw it down the field for 20 yards. So just make sure you have good eyes again.
How much of a challenge is it with a mobile quarterback? I mean, obviously, it extends how long you guys have to cover.
Exactly. So you might have to cover somebody for a little bit longer, but again, that still all goes back to having good eye control, making sure you don't look up at the quarterback for too long, get your eyes back to the receiver.
Clear?
Clear?
I believe we're good.
All right.
Thank you,
Go.
Paul. Thank you, Paul.
Thank you.
I'm good. Y'all kind of thin today.
Look at we anorexic.
Are y'all going to Seattle too?
Yeah, but we're not on the team charter. We don't have that.
Y'all get to
status.
suffer like us. Y'all get to suffer like us.
No,
Take that long
suffer on the
flight.
charter.
Y'all can take that long flight like
Man.
us.
Our food is nothing like the charter. Trust me.
Y'all head out today
we
too?
have been on the charter.
Y'all leave today too?
Tomorrow. Yeah, commercial tomorrow. So there's that. So, Quez, you're going into a situation where obviously the elements can play a part. How do you prepare for that in a dry environment?
Really, you can't compare. You can't prepare for it. You know, elements are gonna play a factor, and that's a part of football. You know, you just gotta go out there and try to adapt to it. You know, obviously they have the home field advantage, and they're used to it. You know, they're live there and they play there all the time, so they used to the environment. So I think they'll have the upper hand on that end of it. But you got to go up there and adapt. You know, go up there and try to play our best game in the weather that's going to be there. So ain't really like you can't really prepare for it. You just got to go there and just play.
How much do you guys embrace the challenge of going to a place like that and trying to play this kind of game against a team that's been historically good, especially at home?
Just going there and just try to take care of business. I mean, hopefully we're not there for a long time. Just go handle business and leave. But just knowing their situation, knowing that they're a historical place there, just try to bring a little bit of New Orleans with us and try to hopefully we have a fan base there, you know, for our help, because I think that's going to play a big part in it.
How you guys preparing for the fan base, because it can be disruptive to say the least.
Right. Well, I personally have never played there, but you know, the guys that've been here, coach, everything, they harp on it's gonna be a loud place. You know, it's they're gonna have the home field advantage just because of the weather and just for the crowd. You see it every week when they play, and we just go in there and we practice. We try to implement the practice with the noise and stuff. So we can get a feel for it like we do every week on the road. But this week should be special.
You know, you can't control when the bye comes, but it seems like you and James' sync has been kind of coming along. Do you kind of feel like, man, I wish we could have kept playing because things were kind of rolling?
Yes, a part of me does, but then the other part of me, the physical part of me, says thank God for the bye. So I think it came at the right time. You know, was kind of early in the season, but the way things been going, you know, a lot of injuries happening. It gave them a chance to get healed up, gives the guys playing a chance to heal up and come back this week. And because they played last week, so hopefully we'll have the upper hand on that end.
What did you do?
Nothing. I stayed here, got treatment all week, so I didn't even go home. So they'll be up here next week though. Bring my dog with me, so have fun with that. Thank you.
Appreciate it.